Hi, folks. This is Mountain Man coming to you from parts unknown. How's everybody doing tonight? I got a little footage from Syria, but I'm going to be talking about Ukrainial, and I'm going to be talking about a lot of things that are going on with a movie that's been put out. I'm trying to get over my 30 seconds so I don't say anything that'll draw unnecessary attention to my situation. But anyway, when people get in the chats, I want to thank everybody for showing up to views the video after the live broadcast. And if it's been up for a little bit, you can review the chats at your leisure. Or if you want to know when I go live, subscribe and hit the notification bell so you'll know when I go live and you can be part of the chats. So anyway, we've got Uncomfortable Truths coming out. I got my thumbnail. Critics be damned. Okay, lines are drawn. I mean, when you're talking to your doubting Thomas friends or Mr. T hating friends, yeah, you can just tell them that's pretty clear lines. And hi, Nikki, how you doing? B-Dog. Hi, Joy. Hi, Lucy. Haha, boy, these chats are going by quick. Damon, how you? Bobcat, nice to see you again. Kim, Ann, Sharon, Diane, hi, Tyne. Mary, how are you? Borinkin Project, nice to see you. So anyway, here's a meme. You know, I'll put up memes while I'm talking, and you guys get a screenshot, and feel free to post them anywhere you want to post them. If you want to give me a shout out, that's fine. If you don't, that's fine too. But any help you would want to give to draw attention to the channel, you can start by giving me a thumbs up if you haven't. Or give me a thumbs down if you think I need to go soak my head. So everybody's welcome here as long as it's a civil conversation. And you know, if you say things I don't agree with or don't like, that's not a problem. That's part of life. That's called discussion. Just as long as there isn't any sophomoric name calling or foul language, I don't care. You know? So anyway, Mike, 1176, how are you? Nikki said, hit the thumbs up button. Hi, Ann. How are you? Joel. I had a friend spell his name that way. I called him Yoel. And CryptoCat 2022 says, what's up? So I don't know if your pronunciation is with a hard J, Joel or Yoel, but forgive me if I mispronounce your name. Tennessee, Wild West. Nice to see you. Are you working now, Tennessee? Last time you was working. Man, I hope it's not real hot where you're at. As always, me. How are you? So anyway, let me see what I got going on. I've got some posts from the particular letter we all know that I want to go over. It's very interesting. It has to do with what is going on with this new movie release that has stunned people, and I want to talk some about that because. I'll get into it in a minute, okay? But let me get some stuff out of the way here. Let me see how these shots are lined up in my studio. Where in the world's all the stuff from overseas? Okay. Oh, here, the Washington Times. I'll put this up. Ha ha. Citizen Free Press. The New York Times is condemning Joe. Maureen Dowd. That's a familiar name. It's 7 grandkids, Mr. President. An opinion piece. So yeah, nobody likes it. You know, I think we had one president that had an illegitimate child, and he was a bachelor, and I think it was William Howard Taft. I could be wrong, but it was in the early 1900s. And the political opponents let it out that he had a so-called love child. Well, you know what he did? Excuse me while I have a sip of my coffee. He came out and said, yeah, it's true. And I take care of my kid, and I make sure the mother has everything she needs to help raise our child. And things like this happen in life. Guess what? He won an election, okay? So, yeah. Bad grandpa, right? The people will forgive. Human frailty. And that was 100 years ago, when that type of stuff was considered scandalous. So, here's a picture of, speaking of that movie, The Sound. I'll call them the sniffers. And from now on, so you all know, that's the A, okay, I, okay, BOTS. In other words, the algo, all right, that causes them to suppress or even take down stuff. Anyway, The Guardian then and now. The Guardian then said child S3X, okay, trafficking rife in Colombia's picturesque Cartagena. So they were bringing it out, talking about it back in 2018, around Christmas time, as a matter of fact, December 23rd. But now, Jim Caviezel stars as a hero trying to stop child trafficker in a paranoid new movie. Paranoid. And as many of you know, this Charles Bramesco, who I think I might do a video titled with his name in the title, so he's sure to see it. Because I got some stuff to talk about it, but I might have to do it on Bumble. But yeah, he has to go to the 17-letter Anon, okay, and say it's a crazy talk. And we know that doesn't help the little ones at all. So yeah, here, let me get this. I'm gonna be popping up stuff because I'll do a broadcast and I'll have in my studio. I'll say, gee, I didn't get to put that up. But anyway, something to be looking for. Mr. T put up, when I return to the White House, I will declassify and unseal all JFK assassination-related documents. It's been 60 years. Time for the truth. RFK Jr. It is very disturbing that Biden refused to release more JFK assassination docs. Biden agreed to make public a majority of records, but thousands remain secret 6 decades later. So keep that in mind, folks. It's coming, along with a lot of other things. Let's get Ukrainians out of the way. Here's Joe meeting with Zelensky. Zelensky and Biden discussed expanding defense cooperation with an emphasis on long-range weapons of destruction. All these things are trying to tickle. They're trying to tickle Russia into doing something. They're trying to set them up with this nuclear power plant, but that's fizzling out. We can talk about that some more too. But as we all know, they're not going to want to blow up something in territory they are in control of. So, everybody who's going, hooray for Ukraine. Many of you have seen on other broadcasts that Jen Psaki, over a year ago, almost 2 years ago, said that these cluster bombs were in violation of international law, and the use of them could put us in a position where people would be getting charged with war crimes. But now they're sending them over. That's the big news. But the reason they're doing it is people are running out. NATO and the U.S. are running out of things to send. Berlin has no way to send F-16 fighters to Kiev. This was stated by German Defense Minister. Simple. There are no planes, he explained. Okay? Yeah, you can't send something you ain't got. So they're sending all their stuff over there. It's either getting blown up by the Russians or being sold on the black market. So here you have this fellow here. Well, I'll get to him in a second. This was overheard and put out by clandestine. Ukraine out of ammunition. Biden with a pretty damning admission when responding to reporters about cluster munitions to Ukraine. They've run out of ammo. This confirms that Western media have been lying about the status of the war. Ukraine is in bad shape. Okay. And right after that gets posted, you have this fellow put a video up that got picked up by Eastern news services, if you know what I mean. Deliveries of ammunition left in American warehouses. Retired intelligence officer Scott Ritter. By supplying these munitions to Ukraine, we are making their army less effective if it used conventional high explosive fragmentation shells. Apart from these cluster bombs, which have been in storage since 2016, the United States has nothing left. This is the real reason for the decision. There is nothing more to give. So, what the heck are they talking about? They're talking about these cluster bombs here. Here's a diagram, 150 millimeter M864 major components. Shows the fuse and all that stuff, the fuel, blah, blah. It is most likely that the announced cluster munitions from the armed forces will be unguided 155 millimeter M864 artillery shells. And it carries 48 M42 submunitions and 24 heavier M46 submunitions, which disperse as the projectile approaches the target and explode on impact. So it's got a total of 70 separate munitions inside of the projectile. Okay, so that is what is rightfully so very contentious. So anyway, let's see here. Oh, remember, those of you who have been with me for a while may remember that I said they're going through all this stuff in Ukraine. The other thing they better watch out is Poland. I said what is going to happen was happened for the past 500 years or more, 1,000 years. Excuse me while I get a sip of my coffee. That the Ukrainian territory, Ukraine has been badmintoned or tennis racketed back between Russia, Poland, Germany, Austria, whatever, for 1,000 years, okay? Since the golden hordes of the Mongol Empire. But anyway, back to Poland. Here we go. And I said that they're dealing with Russia not the smartest way by attacking the Western territories all through the Obama administration. And Putin's been warning. But anyway, I said to head watch out for Poland. That Poland would be coming in on the other side, the western side of the country, claiming territory, and that Ukraine was going to be greatly diminished, if not split up altogether. And here we have this report back to Poland. The original Polish name will be returned to Czerwonograd in the Lvov region. That's way in the west. And activists proposed to rename Constantinople. For reference, in 1692, Constantinople was founded by a representative of the Polish noble family, voivode of Krakow, and crown hetman Felix Kazimierz Potocki. It was named after his wife, Christina. Okay? Constantinople was a part of Poland, Austria-Hungary, Hitler's general government. The city became part of the Ukrainian SSR only in 1951 on the basis of the Soviet-Polish Agreement on the exchange of the territories. So, yeah. Just as we were discussing some time back. Okay, let's keep on rolling through this stuff before I get into our domestic news and the sound of freedom and the okay, I'll be reading this in abbreviated form. The Ukrainian authorities knowingly branded as Kremlin narratives have been noticed in the West. In other words, what the news services discount here in the West, they just say, "Oh, it's from Russia. Don't pay attention. It's disinformation from Russia." Well, what's been coming out of Russia is being accepted as fact in the West now, namely transplantation market, the trade in organs and tissues, including children's, which is gaining momentum in Ukraine under the guise of the war. So the Daily Mail writes about, and I'm sure you all have heard of this, of a employee of a charity organization detained was caught red-handed trying to take an 11-month-old abroad to sell the organs of an 11 11-month-old. The publication notes the 43-year-old man gave an advance of $1,000 to the boy's mother, saying he would ensure adoption in the EU so he would live safely away from military operations. In total, the mother was promised $5,000 for the baby, which the businessman intended to sell to traffickers for 25 G's. Okay? Well, his plans got foiled. It is reported that the man and his accomplice were detained on the border of Ukraine and Slovakia. They were trying to cross with the baby, who was rescued. There's suspicions the man had sold 3 others previously on the pretext of taking them out and finding them foster parents. It is noteworthy that the topic of black transportation is extremely inconvenient, not only for Ukrainian authorities, but also for the West, because large German, Romanian, and Polish clinics are also involved in this, quote, business, and many organs are transported overseas to the U.S. and Canada. Okay? Big money business. 11 months. Never learns to even speak a word. Okay? These are uncomfortable truths with the movie Sound of Freedom are going to start to come out. Because as I mentioned, Jim Caviezel said during an interview on a major news station, Fox, that he was hoping to sell at the beginning 2 million tickets, which they've surpassed, for every young person S3X trafficked, but he said that does not include the organ business, okay? And that is easing it into the public consciousness. So, here we go. We know that stuff's going on. We know about the BIOLABS, okay? So if you're doubting Thomas's friends, if 11 months old, that being treated like that, it's not enough. If the fact that we're throwing tons and tons of weapons over there for nothing is not enough. If the fact that Ukraine's not going to is going to start getting pressure from, like they have for 1,000 years, from Poland and other countries to get split apart because of the terrible, a failed state. I'll put it that way, a failed state. If that's not enough, how about how many billions we're sending over there? Pentagon announced another $800 million in military aid. I showed how a lot of the rioters in France had specialized rifles that were already, it was already marked down in the books that they had been sent to Ukraine, okay, but they're still in France being used by radicals, okay? So that's just a little bit of it. So the $800 million military aid, you can see Bradleys, armored personnel carriers, additional missiles for Patriot air defense, Manpads, Stingers, ATGM, Javelin, Tau, on down the line, anti-aircraft howitzers, projectiles, blah, 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 on down the line. As you can see, the Americans are not only actively replacing the losses incurred by the armed forces of Ukraine during the counteroffensive, but also expanding the range of ammunition supplied. And I want to bring up, I know I'm going fast, folks, but keep up with it. I want to bring up that there was an article I discussed a couple weeks ago or a week, 10 days ago, about battlefield harvesting, okay? There were 7,000 casualties in the UKR side, okay, Ukraine Israel. 7,000 in 10 days. They had already set up a lickety-split program how to keep things fresh and cold in coolers and ship them out of there, if you know what I'm talking about. You figure $50,000 for a liver, corneas. I talked about all that, pancreases, all that. So the people aren't being used just for cannon fodder, okay? And they're not making money just on munitions. So keep that in mind, especially when you talk to your friends. Let them see this little portion of things that I'm talking about. Keep the facts simple and straight. And it has nothing to do. We don't got to get into rituals. We don't got to get into ghouls. We don't got to get into 6 Mile under the earth tunnels with lizard people. Don't have to do any of that black hat counter-op stuff. Just the fact of what they're doing over in Ukraine. Okay? Now, so this wonderful semi-state of Ukraine that's never been recognized by the UN or NATO ever in history, they commandeered, nationalized the television stations over there, and they said they were de-oligarching de-oligarchization of TV channels. Okay? State enforced HOMO S3 actuality after Zelensky carried out de-oligarchization and nationalized the oligarchs' TV channels. They began to actively promote trans ideology. And I noticed on Nikki's program, when everybody was watching, Mr. T, that he's starting to come out just like he did a couple of speeches ago. He said this nation has a spiritual problem. They have a problem with God, that the people that are against us and him, that are fighting us, have a spiritual problem and a problem with God. This time he came out and said, okay, that yesterday he said he was a stone cold criminal. All right. Biden. This time he came out and said he's evil. He said he has a spiritual problem. Okay. And that's what's going on with Ukraine. And Putin himself has said it. Okay. He said the West represents the forces of Satan. He said it. I don't know how many times the president of Turkey said for the Satanists in the West to get their filthy hands off his country, and that we can see your evil smiles behind those masks. So, yeah, those are the kinds of things we got to pay attention to. Let's see, here's something else from Mr. T. Let me see what this is. And he's coming out plump and plain, talking about Presidential Records Act. That the indictment, it's a good word to use because it was effective in this so-called news industry we have, that they're decimated with their ratings. Even Fox, getting rid of Tucker Carlson, came back and bit him right in the behind, and he's dominating, okay? Putting out some very good programs, not pulling any punches, and people are flocking by the millions, all right? So, brought against him by the Department of Injustice and deranged Jack Smith. That's the first time he hadn't put Smith's name in quotes. But anyway, they never mention this capital letters fact and should be severely sanctioned for that. And the weaponization of law enforcement. I have been totally targeted by a very corrupt DOJ and FBI Trump-hating thugs. So, it's illegal, what they're doing, but, hey, it's all part of the show. It's all part of the movie. And people have got to be shown. They got to be shown. Let's lighten up some. I got some memes. And I'll get into some other stuff. Now, I told you I had some sucks, and I went to kick them off, and I saw Drummer Girl had also kicked them off, and so I followed her, and she followed me back. So I went ahead and stole one of her memes. Ha 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 ha. If Bill Backbetter was a chair. So there's one for you. Is my chats getting in the way of on the screen, or is the screen clear, folks? Let's see. Oh, is somebody? Yeah. Christopher, old buddy, old pal. We can't put that letter in, buddy, because the sniffers get me. Christopher Hunt. So I gotta remove that comment. Oh, unless Nikki, but you're welcome to stay. You know, if your comment gets removed, sometimes you can't post for a couple minutes. You're welcome to stay, but you got to use like a spelling of CUE, okay, or 1-7, something like that. Thank you, Pappy Two Bear says screen is clear. That's good. Haha, the cat says he'd be quiet for a while. Why? Ann says it's good. Oh, Bobcat. So I don't know. I think let me see how that works. I'll just bang, gone. Yeah. Okay. Make sure you come back, buddy. And yeah, and all caps makes the algorithm think people are shouting and arguing, and they get on us over that stuff too. Thank you, Henri. She said she gave me a thumbs up. Hi, Roy. How are you doing? Roy said, what did Roy say? My chats are jumping around. That's right, Jerry. Jerry said they're pure evil. That's right. That's right. They can replace those Bradleys, but they can't replace the lost lives. Well, and like I said, they are actively profiting off of, they passed a law in Ukraine. I talked about it last week. They passed a law in Ukraine. Whether you like it or not, you're a donor. You're a donor, okay? You don't get the choice. Do you want to be an organ donor? Yes or no? You don't get that choice. they're taking them. So if there's a couple 100,000 or 300,000 riding on what's inside you, they probably won't put forth as heroic efforts as they could to save your life, right? Maybe just long enough to keep you going, to keep it fresh till they get it cooler. Oh, I tell you, here's some. I don't know if you all noticed this or not. Remember when I put up that map of the Azores and I said, what's Devin Nunes putting up this map of the Azores? And I hinted, well, could it be they've got some other setup in the Azores besides Cuba, and Git, and then Mo, right? Well, Devin Nunes put this up today. United States Marines looking good in Sao George, Azores. And look at that rainbow, would you, folks? There's the flag right there for you. Hi, Jerry. How are you doing? Hi, Alicia. So, yeah, I find that extremely interesting that the Azores is being mentioned quite a bit. So here we go. Come election time, they'll be really cracking down on, probably taking down videos like this one that puts stuff up like this. I don't know. Sorry, I got to sip my coffee and didn't say anything beforehand. But anyway, yeah, I got to buy me a coffee link if anybody wants to help the channel out. I got a link in the description. I don't get anything from any platform. This is viewer supported and creator supported only. So anybody wants to help an old man out, I got a link in the description. Here we go. Mark's safe from paying off somebody's college loan today. Yay! You can get a screenshot of that and put it on your Facebook page and really make the people who were hoping that all their bills would get paid by you, really make them good and mad. And if they message you and call you a jerk or something like that, say, oh, I got something else for you right here. I got this from Citizen Free Press too. When you end up, there he is. When you ended both abortion and affirmative action, and then that really get them fired up. And they'll send some nonsensical, insulting argument back, and then you just go, oh, you didn't like that? Wait a minute. Here's another one for you. Ooh, you almost had it. And the best way to handle them when they act like jackals and they all jump on you is just keep throwing stuff like this at them and laugh at them. Boy, I tell you what, somebody mad and you laugh in their face when they're mad, boy, that makes them even 10 times madder. So you almost had it. Almost had it. So I tell you, and something else came out today. Here we go. What do y'all make of this? Exclusive. Or this came out yesterday. Republican Representative Mike Johnson, I think he's from Alabama, introduces legislation to address doomsday presidential election outcome? Huh? Well, what that has to do, he's saying that there's some loopholes in the how we do our electors, like what happens if somebody gets elected president and they pass away, or if there's a tie in the electoral vote and how that's supposed to be handled. So keep an eye on that, folks. Keep an eye on that. Hi, Mary. Mary said, remember when certain states were seeing military around? We were told it was just exercising on July 2nd. Has it? Well, certain states have different bases, and some bases will hold exercises on different times and dates. And I think a lot of that was people like Mr. Godlewski and Mr. Penny. The usual suspects were getting some clickbait capital by putting that stuff out there, even though I know our military is always going to be on the ready. And whatever's going to happen, there are scenarios is already planned out, right? We know that they're not going to get caught flat-footed. I can tell you that they're not going to be caught flat-footed. How crazy these people are is known, and we all know who really is in charge. Okay, he said he was coming back in some form. So, yeah, there's going to be exercises all around. You never know what commander at what base is going to want his men to do what. If it's a mountaineer division, if it's an airborne division, if it's a tank squad or whatever, they're going to do their exercises. So, thank you, Karen said, hit the like button. Wild West said, I have a flag in my apartment that says are you getting it yet? Ha ha, the American flag underneath it. Yeah, that's right. That's right. So, let's see. What else do we have here? I'm telling you, I'm really interested in that Azores business. So, I had an article about butt edge, as Mr. T said, we call him butt edge. He's in charge of the Department of Transportation, right? It's got him wearing a goofy looking helmet, like he's going to go ride a bike, but he's just got off the short bus and going to try to ride a bike. He looks real goofy. Let me see if I can find that. But anyway, there he is. Okay, so I'll put this article up first. Wait a second. He's in charge of the Department of Transportation. Mr. T was bringing up that they want us to ride around these little toy electric batteries. How many of you all remember the Chevrolet Corvair just before the Corvette? And how many of you all remember what was his name? Not Nadler, Nader, Ralph Nader, who sued Chevy and got the Corvair taken out, said it was a hazard and all this stuff. Well, I showed this before, and these deaths are probably a lot higher than 108,000. It is unbelievable how many of these things are malfunctioning, catching on fire. They can't put the fire out sometimes for multiple days. And nobody's saying a word, right? What's the transportation secretary? He wanted his own private jet, Mr. Butt Edge. And they said, why you got to have your own private jet? He said, because the planes run late. Sometimes I can't get where I'm trying to go. Well, you're in charge of the Department of Transportation, you nitwit. Whose fault is it that the planes aren't run on time, you moron? Yeah, the Pinto also. And the Pinto only needed at the time, it was like a $7 metal plate that would have solved the problem, plus the labor to put it on. But they destroyed the Pinto over that. They could have put a plate. Anyway, Pete Edge consulted China-tied group pushing gas stove bans and electric vehicle mandates. Oh, these communists stick together now, don't they? Yeah, they sure do. Now, that was a little walk down memory lane with the Corvair, Ralph Nader, the Pinto, and all that stuff. Here's another walk down memory lane. Remember this, folks. Remember. This gets you arrested. This does not. Ha ha. Let me see what's going on in the comments. So y'all want to get a screenshot of that? Please feel free. Hi, Awakened Trillium. How are you? I see the chat's better when I got a darker background. Let me see. There we go. Your brother had a Corvette engine. Michael's got something up. I can't see because the background is bright white. Let me see. There we go. I had a 55 Thunderbird. The first year they made them, I had 47,000 miles on it. My brother had a Corvair, more oil in the engine bay in the end in the engine. Yeah. Corvair, that was a precursor to the Corvette. Yeah, let's see. Karen had a Pinto. They're cute little cars. I had a girlfriend that had a Chevette, a Chevy Chevette. Diane, yeah, you were getting the propaganda shoved right in your craw back in '73. That's 50 years ago, a half a century. And they're still blabbing about it today. Diane, I would make a meme about that. Find you a picture of Ralph Nader and Greta Van Doomberg and put them side by side and say, I met Ralph Nader in 1973. He said the polar ice caps are going to melt in 1978. I think she's his love child. Beetle bug, yeah. I remember the beetle. They called them punch bugs. They were punch them. Somebody sitting next to them in the arm or over that. But anyway, I got, about those Facebook college creepos. If they pick on you, pay up, sucker, cancel student loans. And there's you got Clarence coming in. Pay up, sucker. There you go. I'll put where you can get a good clean screenshot of it. So I'll check in the chat, see what's going on. 73 Gremlin. Yeah, that I saw one on eBay. It's been, I think it was only like last month. I said, man, a Gremlin? I saw a Pacer. That's right, all because of the gas crisis. Quote, gas crisis. The government just promised to build better automobiles. We went from Cadillac Eldorado convertibles down to Pintos, Gremlins, Pacers, Vegas, Colt. Their MS says a Colt. I didn't own a Pacer. I rode in them before. They were all glass. My mom had she had? She had one of those little station wagon Alpines, a Plymouth Alpine, or was it a Dodge? I've had so many cars I could sit here for half an hour and talk about how many I've had. Rolskin hardly. I've had puddle jumpers all the way up to land yachts. I saw a Model T in eBay day before yesterday, and I thought, man, a whole bunch of parts from 1960s cars that go with it. I'd rather have Model A, though. I mean, just for a piece of history. Because the oldest thing I owned was a 1946, and I had a 47 vehicle. I had a 1951 vehicle. I had a 1955 vehicle. Boy, it's night and day technology. So, anyway, these two characters here. Remember that show, What's My Line? Or you had to guess who the people were. You guess who these two are right here. Who are these two? There we go. They went to school together. Okay? Let me give a chat a second to see if anybody knows who these two are. They were buddies in college. Yay! Let's try out for the cheerleading squad. Don't you mean football? No! Ow! I want to cheerlead. Ha 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 ha. Well, my chats are frozen up. What's going on? Oh, there they go. 65 Mustang. Slant 6. That's right. I saw a Dodge van with a Slant 6 in it. Those things, Millie and Levine, Roy said. Are you the first one, Roy? That's right. Roy got it. Dad has a 73 Nova. I have a lot of memories in that. Haha. Dumb and Dumber, Nikki said. Yeah. Well, I tell you what. We were, yeah, that's who it is. Here you go. Modern day. Here they are. There you go. Millie. A TV show like Shirley, Laverne and Shirley, Millie and Levine. We talked about Pinto Wild West. Yeah, I had a friend that had a bright cherry red Pinto. But anyway, these two characters, I'm going to talk about The Sound of Freedom I said before. But you know The Sound of Freedom, and I don't want to pop any bubbles, but that's been out for a while. That movie has been made back over a year ago, and I've already seen clips from it last year, more than that, almost 2 years ago. And I never said anything. Post-production problems were that they didn't have a studio with enough clout to get them in theaters. And not a lot of people know this, but Disney had the option, I think like a right of first refusal or something like that, to market and air that movie in theaters, and they drug their feet and they held it up 6 years ago, Mountain Man. Oh, Nick said 6 years ago. They held it up, but see, they were working on movies like this. See, right here. Like the two guys you see on the screen right there, who went to school together. So if you want to find out what that's about, you can look that up on UTizzle. It was more important to have Indiana Jones get slapped by a woman and treated like garbage, and Star Wars to be destroyed. All the main characters get knocked off, like Han Solo and Carrie Fisher and even Luke Skywalker himself, and to have everything just get destroyed and start over again. And so you had this movie come out here, and I'm sure their budget was triple what Sound of Freedom was. And so they're pushing an agenda, and hey, it's not working out for them. Go woke, go broke, right? So with The Sound of Freedom, and like Nikki said, it's been out for years. She said 6 years. And a lot of us have seen clips from it. But Mel Gibson came along and pretty much guaranteed that they would be getting screenings. And I mean, because he's come out in the past with something nobody believed in, and Passion of the Christ, and it made barrels and barrels of money, and also the movie Apocalypto. So he put his stamp of approval on this, and it is also taking off. But as I said about this situation here with The Guardian, it reminded me of a post that had something in it. Right here. Let me put this up. Here's a post about 3 movies. This was back in July of 2019. All 3 movies playing simultaneously. Do you find it interesting that everything discussed in the past is somehow making news as of late? This was almost 4 years ago. And the 3rd movie down, the farthest one away, I have to be careful. I put it on Truth Social, an expanded view. Right here, see what it says? The P3DO files. And you have the Guardian paper cracking on human trafficking. And the other movies are Panic at DC and FISA-gate. So anyway, back in, I'm going to show you a little something about taking a look at posts, okay? Here. Did I take the number off? I hope I got to make sure I don't have anything give me away. There we go. I don't. Haiti. Okay, I took the number off the post. And all you got to do is put in a few keywords. It'll pull the post up. But anyway, it starts with Haiti. And it gives you a link to a YouTube video. And then it says, read, which I will show you that YouTube video in just a few minutes. It says, read very carefully in brackets. And it has an article. All the www stuff. Matt Duran goes undercover with Operation Underground Railroad to bring down Haiti child S3X ring. Okay. And then it goes on to quote, child trafficking victims who spent their formative years servicing the carnal desires of men, often foreigners who are 3, 4, 5, or 6 times their age. Whoops, I put the letter up. I'm not supposed to do that. Their madam tells me that many of their customers are Western humanitarian workers who've come here to help rebuild Haiti after the recent run of natural disasters. The more you know. Okay? Now listen to me, folks. I'm going to play this video that you see in the link. News article, okay? For just this one post. And then I want to address something, especially for those folks who have an interest in still looking at these posts. And hopefully it'll make life much easier. But anyway, let me see what I got in my library here. Here we go. So anyway, I will cut my mic off so you can hear it better. It's a brief video. And you see the subject matter there. And I will be back. Let me cut my mic off and play it. And just pay attention to who they're talking about. Always the ones you trust the most.
Missionaries arrived in court in Port-au-Prince on Thursday. They believe that they would soon be set free.
We expect that God's will be done. We will be released. We are looking forward to what God is going to do.
But a Haitian prosecutor decided the accusations against them were serious enough to build a criminal case. He charged them with child kidnapping and criminal association for trying to take 33 children out of the country without the required documentation. The decision came somewhat as a surprise. Haitian officials had floated the idea of sending the missionaries judicial system. Now, however, the case is in the hands of an investigative judge based in this building right here behind me. The missionaries are from an Idaho-based Baptist church. Police arrested them last week on Haiti's border with the Dominican Republic as they tried to cross with a busload of children. The missionaries say they were bringing orphaned and abandoned victims of the earthquake to a better life in the Dominican Republic.
The entire team deeply fell in love with these children. They are very, very precious kids that have lost their homes. Of most of all, God's love and His compassion and just a very nurturing setting.
Thousands of children were orphaned in the earthquake, raising concerns about the possibility of child trafficking. The Haitian government says this is what the missionaries were doing. UNICEF's executive director doesn't call it child trafficking, but she says whatever the missionaries intended to do, they went about it the wrong way.
If children are going to be taken out of the country, they need to have properly for adoption and for removal from the country.
Haitian officials say many of the children still have parents, but some of the children may have been handed over voluntarily.
Okay, folks, this video was 13 years ago. Okay, they've been taking kids out of Haiti, no identification, no DNA, no family ties, no record, no nothing. And they're not the only ones. But there you have a link from 4 years ago that, and I want to talk to people who are interested in these posts and they have a difficult time. They get confused or upset, or they think, something's supposed to happen tomorrow, or they, hey, if you get involved where somebody says, take the date of the post and add it to the time it was posted and divide it by 666 and then do your gematria to see what words you come up. Stay away from people like that, okay? Don't waste your precious time with that. The bottom line is just what we did here. We went to the post, we read the post, we went to the video. And that video is something you can share with your doubting Thomas friends and say this has been going on for years, not just in Haiti, okay? Because you take a look at the article. The article. Let me pull that up if I can find it quick enough. Whoa. We're going to go to the article. Here we go. I got to get it out of my studio. Here we go. This was written in 2017. Sunday nights, Matt Dorn goes undercover with Operation Underground Railroad to bring down Haiti child sex ring, go behind the scenes with an elaborate multi-agency bust that has been almost a year in the planning. So you can go to this post and you can pull up this article that was written in 2017, July. Okay, so it was 5 years ago. 8 years. 8 years after the video I just showed you of the innocent, God-fearing missionaries who want to smuggle children out without communicating with the government or getting an identification of the children. Okay. If you think that's normal or good, no, I'm afraid that's not. But you can pull this post up and read this article, and it will talk about the customers, wealthy Australians on a yacht offshore, how the smugglers charged $300 a child and had 30 children, okay? exchange the money, how they got taken down. It's all in this article that you can share with your Doubting Thomas friends that don't believe this type of stuff is going on. I've got one more that I've got, or two more posts. I got to get one out of my studio. And this will take me to another post. But anyway, the way that you do that, you can just go in this post. You can put in read very carefully. You can type in often foreigners or their madame, and this post will pull up. That's all you got to do. You don't need the number. And me putting the number up gets me in trouble. Okay. Now I got to go out in my studio to get a very important post. Just hang with me for a second. I will get that. And it ties into a post that was put on Fox News, that was taken off of Fox News. And that is really something to be able to forward to your friends, or first of all, to read for yourselves. Where in the world? There it is. How did I forget that in my studio? Okay. I've shown it. Whoa, I didn't crop that down. That's okay. Whoa, 49, 48. I've shown this for over a year, probably a dozen times. Inspector General report. Okay, Wiener texting 15-year-old, okay? What's circled in the red? Hillary Clinton and Foundation crimes against children. This was in the Inspector General's report. Huber. Why Prawn lawyer involved in a Hunter Biden laptop case, Special Agent Joshua Wilson. Do you see a pattern? Well, I'm going to talk about a quick pattern. Is how this post has been up for almost 4 years, maybe. The name's there. Special Agent Joshua Wilson. On the first post I just showed, we didn't go into timestamps. We didn't go into doing jumping jacks with gematria. We didn't go going off into outer space over nothing. We read the post for what it was worth, what the IO intelligence officer was trying to communicate to us. We clicked on the video, saw with our own eyes. We clicked on the article, saw with our own eyes. We've got shareable, verifiable, real content to share with other people. Okay, now here, 4 years later, this post has been sitting. Specific name, specific dates, a specific news report run by Fox News that talks about the Inspector General's report talking about Hillary Clinton and crimes against children. Okay. Well, what does somebody do in a situation like that? You look up the name Josh Hawley, right? Goggle it, as they say. Joshua Wilson, FBI, subpoena. Hunter Biden, prawn link unconfirmed. This was in September 2022. There's this picture right there. If you feel that your efforts in keeping up with this and the reason you look at these posts and the reason you watch videos is to help little ones, And if you believe that your time is precious, as I always call it, your precious time, then don't. I know it sounds like I'm harping, but if there's, if 1,000 people watch this video, 800 people watch this video, if 10% change from wasting their precious time and driving themselves cuckoo with a bunch of clickbaiters and people who throw in black hat counter psyops, okay, where they say at a St. Patty's Day party or parade, they say the guy that was dressed like Lucky Charms elf, I think he's JFK. They get your mind out of that stuff and get focused, because this name, Josh Hawley, has been out for 4 years. People are just now going, oh, gee, that's such a shock. No, it's always been laying there for us to see. And if you waste your precious time, and if you really believe that you're working to help young ones, well, it only goes to follow that if you're wasting your precious time, you're wasting their precious time. And they don't have a lot of time, those kids. Okay? And nothing's going to happen till the majority of our population wakes up to reality about what's on that laptop, that the laptop is real, what they've been doing in Haiti for the past 15 years, at least our government, and people who are very high in power. But we're not going to get to the, quote, normies by talking about wild and crazy stuff. So with that being said, here's one more. If you want to do something tonight with the 17th letter or tomorrow, just put in special agent. You'll find 5 posts, 5 of them. Don't worry about the post numbers. Don't worry about the timestamp. Don't worry about nothing except what's highlighted in blue for you to click on and look at, and what the post is saying to you. Forget everything else. But anyway, here's one of the 5. This is far from a vigilante group, namely the people that went and did that article where they described the raid on the wealthy Australians in the yacht paying $300 a kid. This is far from a vigilante group. Leading the teams is ex-Department of Homeland Security Special Agent Tim Ballard. Oh, by the way, 2, 4, wait a minute. How many letters is that? 2, 4, 6. That's only 7 letters. Okay. Perhaps America's foremost human trafficking expert. The problem in Haiti is an international crisis, Ballard explains. With so many children displaced or orphaned during the recent earthquake and hurricane, recruiters moved quickly to sweep these children up. And the worst part of it all is that in many cases, the clients are the foreigners who've come in here to help. The clients are the foreigners who come in here to help. The non-government organization workers and the so-called humanitarians, capital letters, pure evil. Hunters become the hunted the more you know. Okay, in other words, the ones who hunt little ones where there are poor countries with disasters, they're the ones being hunted right now. Okay, folks? So, yeah, if you want to, I'll tell you the first one you'll go to. Now, the first one is not the one that you first see at the top. You got to scroll down and start from the bottom up, because you don't want to read a book backwards, right? If you read the first post you see when you put in special agent, you'll see the newest post. and then you go down and read backwards, it won't make sense to you. That's just a tip for future reference. But you put in special agent and scroll down to the bottom, which will be the earliest post that says special agent. It will decode. Now, this ought to get a couple of people excited. It will decode what James Comey put out in a tweet after he got fired by Mr. T, and after Andrew McKay got fired. He put out a tweet, and they decoded what they think he was saying to Andrew McCabe and the rest of the FBI staff. Okay, that's just a little fun thing to do, recreational research. So, Wild West is all in plain sight. Fools, they're evil about getting power. Some big mistakes I have all along my computer from 2 years ago. That's right, but I tell you, how we communicate to other people who are not wise to this yet, this movie is going to open a lot of eyes, and we don't want to get into all the stuff I talked about earlier. And people say, oh, you beat it to death or talk about it too much. I've had people cuss me. All right. I've had people really defend themselves. These crazy notions, get mad if I criticize Phil Godlewski, get mad if I criticize Penny and Jaco and all the other clickbait crap artists, but I don't care. If I get 10 people out of 100 that get mad at me, 10 people to change their ways and quit wasting their precious time and actually help others to wake up to help these kids, that's fine. I'll take the slings and arrows. Here's why. I'm a warrior, okay? We all are. The protector of family and those in need. Guardian of ways of honor and courage. We don't push our own desires above what is right. And always motivated by our utmost duty, okay? I'm not here for people to like me. I'm not here for clicks. I'm not here for nothing except to get people to quit wasting their precious time and put their energies toward acting like normal human beings to help our friends and relatives understand that there's evil in this world and they are abusing little ones, and we need to get our heads and our backsides wide right so we can get those people out of office and help those kids. And we're not going to do it talking gibberish and nonsense that gets pumped in by a bunch of black hats to make us look kooky, where we go to Dallas and sit around with Q signs waiting for JFK to show up, like Mike Penny did a couple of years ago. Or when you walk down the street and people see you coming and you've already said, not you to any specific person out there, I'm saying you to the general world. They've already talked about what's the newest thing they're bringing up? Spaceships and aliens, okay? Or lizard people or whatever. Discern and just talk about things you can prove, you can discuss, you can share a link with the actual article where you see people being arrested and taken to jail in Haiti for trying to smuggle children out 13 years ago. And you can show them an article from 2017 where a bunch of Australians were trying to buy 30 children for a party on a boat. Okay? That's what the operation is all about. And the reasons I just talked about, the cuckoo counter psyops by the black hats are why we're not getting any more posts from 17 right now. So, yeah, your time's precious, but it's also precious to the little ones. And the cavalry is not going to come as quick if we all don't get on the same page. And hey, here I am right here. People criticize me or get mad at me because I got some Phil Godlewski groupie leaving me crazy messages or anything like that. Hey, it's how I sleep at night. And I'll tell you what, as far as friends and people that follow me, I appreciate every single one that has an open heart, an open mind, and is willing to listen to me. But I'll tell you something about friends. My father told me a long time ago, if you take a look at friends and their value, some friends, of course, are more valuable than others. Some people are a downright pain in the backside, right? That's a fact of life. But I would rather, there's this old saying, and Michael Francis brought it up. Al Capone said it years ago. As far as friends are concerned, I'd rather have 4 quarters in my pocket than 100 pennies. Okay? So if I lose subscribers or whatever, if I say things too many times because somebody, feels I'm picking on just them, I'm not. Repetition is how people learn. And you look at the mainstream media, Mockingbird, that's why they say that. It's repetition, repetition, repetition. You look at what it's done to our country, our family, our friends who will not wake up and believe every rotten thing that's been said about Trump over and over and over and over again. So I do the same thing back to get it through people's heads. And that's why I bring up things over and over again. If it hurts somebody's feelings, I'm not here to hurt feelings. I'm here to get the best of the best as far as warriors. Okay, that's what we are. And I didn't realize it went over so far. And Tennessee, I got a notice up here while I was jibber jabbering. Tennessee stopped by and got me a coffee. I appreciate it. I'm going to hit some special effects if I can get them pulled up here. Here we go. Boom, pow, bang, and some hearts because I appreciate Tennessee. Thank you for stopping by, buying me a coffee, and helping an old man out. This show is brought to you by Tennessee Ridge Runner. And I also want to thank everybody that's helping me out in the past. I appreciate it so much. So, folks, I didn't realize I'd gone over this far, but I will say this. Another thing Mr. T said, these people are in it for their personal profit and power. Remember those 3 P's: personal, profit, and power. Okay? That's not a government servant. But every one of them, all they care about is their personal profit and power. And that is what leads to corruption and abuse. Here you go. There we go. And I know you guys have seen it many times, but I'm going to, hey, it's worth watching. And even though you think you know it all by heart, the players that she brings up, the points that she brings up, the people you see on the screen, you will be seeing in a, I believe, a very, very bad position for them. If I can find her up here, I will play it. My girlfriend. my secret girlfriend. I don't know where she's at. I had her up here for the longest time. But that's what I'm going to close out with, folks. If I can find it. If I can't find it, I'll just play Putin blowing everything up. Here she is. I'll still play Putin blowing everything up if I got in my studio at the end, okay? So if you want to listen to Laura and hang out, and I'll have Putin say, maybe I'll go ahead and play, I'll have Putin blow him out the door at the end. No, that one gets me taken down. I'll just play Laura Logan, folks. So anyway, I appreciate you all spending your precious time with me. I hope this has been a benefit for you, and I'll be broadcasting again soon. I'm not sure when. So anyway, you all have a great night, and I'll be seeing you soon. This is Mountain Man, over and out.
Corralled into this box where we either have to hate Vladimir Putin and believe everything evil that's said about him and love Ukraine, and there's no in between. And that reminds me a lot of, you're either a white supremacist or you go with the Democrat narrative on everything under the sun.
The most lethal terrorist threat to the homeland today, white supremacy.
And I want to understand white rage, and I'm white.
I mean, there's as much interference here as you could possibly imagine. Before you even get to Hunter Biden, Nancy Pelosi, John Kerry, Mitt Romney, and all of their children who earn millions from Ukrainian gas companies. These days, it's hard to believe anything because they've lied about COVID, they lied about Russia collusion, they lied about the Ukraine impeachment trial, and there's so much more going on in Ukraine that nobody is talking about.
Does Ukraine have chemical or biological weapons?
My job as a journalist is to try to understand what is the truth here. I don't like being lied to, and we're being lied to on an epic scale. When we're told your only choice is you have to be 100% with Zelensky. Slava Ukraina. Who's a puppet, who you can find on the internet in black stilettos and leather pants. Zelensky was selected, like so many of our leaders. And honestly, with big tech and with election fraud these days, we don't know how many leaders all around the world have been selected for us and weren't actually voted in.
How to build back better.
We have to build back better.
Build back better.
If Donald Trump gets the Republican nomination, there are many of us that will move heaven and earth to ensure he doesn't win.
We are fighting the same battles all over the world. To pretend that this war is about Russia and Ukraine is a barefaced lie. Putin has been warning for 15 years that he is not going to stand by while the globalists take over the world, build bioweapons facilities and whatever else they're doing in Ukraine. Ukraine has been a center of money laundering for many of the leaders in this country. Billions of US dollars have Nobody question these things. We have an idiot like Lieutenant Colonel Vindman.
Mr. Vindman.
Lieutenant Colonel Vindman, please.
Do you always insist on civilians calling you by your rank?
And sits there as a lieutenant colonel. He didn't even make colonel. And he's telling the president of the United States what his policy should be. You have a traitor in the form of Maria Yovanovitch, who was Obama's ambassador, who's telling Ukrainian government officials, don't listen to the will of the American people.
In his July 25th phone call with Ukrainian President Zelensky, the president badmouthed Yovanovitch, calling her bad news.
I was shocked, absolutely shocked.
And then she's given a cushy job for life at Georgetown University, and we're told that the president of the United States cannot say to his foreign counterparts that we want you to look into something.
If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Oh, son of a bitch. And they put in place someone who was solid.
So much hypocrisy and dishonesty here, and Ukraine is at the center of it all.